For the wood stove, before you begin starting or setting up your fire, you're going to want this valve. It has two positions, open and shut. You're going to want it open. Let's pull it all the way out. Follow me down here. You'll see this valve right here. It's got a high, low, and medium position. You're going to want to push it all the way in, and that's going to get you to high position. Pull it halfway out, medium, all the way out, low. But for starting a fire, you're going to push it all the way in. So get you a bundle out by the woodshed. They're $5 a bundle. When you're building the fires, you'll want obviously the largest logs on bottom, and then you have medium logs, and then you'll have a bucket of kindling. You might have to go around the property and collect some. It's relatively easy. They're everywhere around here. At that point, again, you'll put the lowest log or the biggest logs on bottom, medium size to small. When you're building the fire and starting it, I'll show you here pretty soon, but you want to kind of stack it from largest on bottom to smallest on top again. And whenever you're doing this, make sure you build it towards the back of the stove, as this will help mitigate kind of the smoke coming into the cabin whenever you do eventually light it. Just pay attention or note where the chimney is, and you want to build a fire right below that. Okay, once you've kind of pre-staged your fire, you're going to go ahead and take one of your, you have a Duralast or Duramatch fire starters. You're just going to light one end, get it nice and hot. And again, whenever you're doing this, make sure you try to build it in the back. So I have kindling right here. I'll put this in the back. And then we're just going to break some twigs and kind of build around it. Building. Once you get a small fire going, you're going to notice some smoke begin to bellow out of the stove. So whenever, in order to prevent the smoke from coming into the cabin, you'll go ahead and close the gate, but you're not going to latch it shut. So if you look on the side, there's still a slit of air here. This is what's going to create that vacuum and that draft. And it'll start sending smoke up to the chimney rather than outside to the cabin. You'll leave it in this position for a good 10-15 minutes, or until the fire has started to roll, if you will. And then at that point, you'll be able to shut the latch to the door. Now that you got a bit of a fire going, you're going to open the door. But whenever you do, take note that you want to do this slowly. Usually the slower the better, as it prevents it from creating a backdraft and introducing smoke into the cabin. So open slowly. We're still trying to create that draft. Once you've got the door relatively open, you can start adding your medium-sized logs that we have already staged in here. Again, take note how the fire is in the back of the stove as opposed to the front. This will also help kind of cut down on the smoke. I'm still leaving the door itself, or the hatch itself, open, as I'm trying to get the fire to build a little bit bigger, and then at that point we'll close. Okay, now that you've got a pretty good fire going, at this point you can shut the hatch. You'll shut it at this point. This will kind of slow down the fire and allow you to get more heat from the wood. And keep in mind that now that the fire's been going for a while, this whole top and just everything around it's going to be rather hot. So please don't set anything on top. Refrain from touching it and whatnot. At this point, now that the fire's kind of died down a little bit, you can also change this down to a low position. This will also help you make the fire kind of last a little bit longer as well. Okay, now that you've got a good fire going and you'd like to reload it, first of all, we'll get our next piece of wood that we're gonna load into the fire. Now when opening the hatch, again, make sure you do it very slowly. The fire will kick up now because you're introducing more oxygen. So we're just going slow. This is to prevent smoke from entering the cabin. Maintain that draft. Now that it's open, you'll go ahead and add your next piece of wood. Whenever you're building these fires, you'll see fire bricks laid around the perimeter of the stove. When you're building the fires, try not to go above that. I know this log's a little bit bigger, but do your best not to build the fire too big. At this point, you'll close it. And you should be good. Okay, you've got your fire going and you'd like to circulate the air around the cabin a little bit more. If you follow me to the back here, you have a blower. All you need to do is plug it in. And all that's doing is it's circulating the air and it's pushing it over the top of the stove and pushing it out into the space so that you get a little bit more heat around the cabin. This will not affect the fire, it's just going to circulate the air for you.